You're rocking with some of the realest coaches in the game. Coach RB and Coach CB. Area code 459.
Good evening, guys. Welcome to Area Code 459 Podcast. It's your boy, Coach RB, and I'm here with my co-host, Coach CB. What's up, Caitlin?
What's up, Coach? How you doing?
Man, I'm happy. I'm so excited. We got a special guest in the studio, but before we can get to that guest, let's thank some people.
As always, I want to thank all of our sponsors. I want to thank In-House Ink, J-Made Crafts for helping us get all of our logos and everything together. Most importantly, I want to thank all of the people that have helped us put this podcast together, our family, our friends. We couldn't have done it without everybody supporting us. And most importantly, God, for giving us the vision to help other people through our lives.
Man, I'm so excited, man. I have somebody that I'm happy to introduce. His name is Mr. Garrain Jones. He is a wellness entrepreneur. He's a workshop facilitator. He's a global speaker. He is an author of Change Your Mind, Change Your Life. He has a passion about transforming people's lives through health and wellness. Most of all, he's a loving father and a devoted husband. What's up, Mr. Jones?
That shit just fired me up. How are you?
Man, I'm blessed, man. We are so happy that you're here. Today we're talking about books that we have read, knowing that you are an author and knowing that you are a successful man in the business of nutrition and wellness. We know that people use books to continue to shape their minds. So we're so excited to have you here as the author and actually so excited to just talk about what our topic is today. But before we jump all the way into it, we're going to let Caitlin introduce the topic for
us. Something that's important to both Coach B and me is reading. Something that we've always done is kind of what joined our relationship together. When we first met, he would give me books as an athlete. I would read them, kind of help me through some mental stuff that I was going through, help me find a new perspective on life. And that's really what we want to talk about today is how words and how books have inspired us, how they've changed our lives. So like throughout my life, I've always valued the importance of words. You know, words kind of can make you or break you. But I want to know for you, how have words empowered you?
So before a word can come out of your mouth, it has to arrive as a thought first. And so, you know, especially on the topic of books, I used to hate books. Simply because, in high school, in high school, I was a special needs child. So what would normally take you 4 days to learn would take me 6 months to learn because my brain didn't process as fast as the normal, typical brain. Even right now today, it's whenever there's anything new, there's just a slower process. But when I get it, then something just happens where I'm able to create, move mountains and all kind of things. But my very first book was The Power of Positive Thinking by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. And I didn't read that book to read a book. I just read a book because I was so intimidated by people who spoke very eloquently and who spoke with big words, because I used to talk like this. And I had a very little vocabulary because I cheated my way through high school. So I didn't read at all until I was 18 years old. So when I read that book, all of these amazing things happened in my life. It's called The Power of Positive Thinking. But I didn't know, I could not process what I was reading. I was like, the more I was reading it, and I was reading the words out loud, but I wasn't reading to read the book. I was reading to over-enunciate so that I wouldn't have to talk like this anymore. So I'm reading the book like this. You go down the street, and then by the time I was done with the book, all of these amazing things were happening in my life. So I had results without even knowing. So you can't change what you're not aware of. It wasn't until 2011, mind you, I'm 41 years old. So from the age of 18 all the way to 2011, I didn't know the power of words, the power of thoughts, the power of reading until I went to a personal development seminar, and they said, leaders are readers. When you find a good book, keep reading it. Oh, and you keep reading it until you master the book, not to memorize the quotes, but to master it to the point where the book is now reading you.
Mm.
So I was like, oh,
Oh, that is big. That's tough.
that's why.
Wow.
Every time I read a book, these good things happen. And every time I stopped reading the book, the weeds of my past or the weeds of my mind would overtake my mental garden. And it doesn't take anything for weeds to grow but time. So no matter how much you keep reading a book, the second you stop, the weeds of your past come to overtake your mental garden. So that's why it's so powerful for me, because it keeps tending my mental garden with the thoughts that I want to will into the world as thoughts become words, and I become a reflection of my thoughts.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Man, one of my favorite books is called Energy Bus. It's by John Gordon. He actually writes it in a form of how it's worked in business, but he takes it and he actually implements it in a lot of teams, and a lot of people use it for team building. And he always talks about the idea of staying away from energy vampires, like keeping that high energy up. What would you say staying away from, old weeds or energy vampires would mean to you as you try to, stay enlightened and stay moving in a positive direction?
Well, now that I'm aware, it's easy for me to steer away from that. But when I wasn't aware, I'd be in good company and I'd be in bad company. And I wouldn't really know. I was just like, oh, these people are just always so negative, but they're my friends. And I would just hang out with them. But then the more and more I hung out with them, the more and more weird stuff started happening in my life. And the best way to describe it is, if you want to learn a language, because energy is a form of language, positive and negative. If you wanted to learn French and you spoke English your whole life, the best way to learn that language is through culture. It's not by going to Starbucks every day and reading Rosetta Stone once a week. It's, if you wanted to really learn the language, go to the country, be amongst the people, eat the food, be in the culture, because the energy and the frequency of the country will accelerate your growth. So energy, if you're always in negative energy, it's accelerating the problems that are in your life, because we have the physical body and we have an energetic body that extends about 100 feet all surrounding us. That's why people have an aura. And that's why you can walk into a room, nobody say anything, and all of a sudden you can feel the nature of what people are thinking. Go into your grandmother's house, she's cooking, sit on that plastic couch, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, goodness,
Right.
feels so good. But then go around people who don't like you or something's about to happen, you can feel it in your soul.
Right.
So energy, that people discredit energy because they can't see it. But you can't see the wind either, but you know when it's cold. So energy is so important. Your community is so important. So any way that you can find a way to get in the language of positivity and immerse yourself in the culture, whatever it is that they're doing, one, you'll take nature of that surrounding, but then also it'll accelerate, because flowers that grow in bunches grow much faster than flowers that grow by themselves.
Wow, that's so good. And you talked about how power of positive thinking opened your eyes, and it kind of gave you a new perspective. And I have a book that I love to read. I read it annually, and it's called Leadership and Self-Deception, because that's one of those books, like you were saying, that I want to continue to cultivate my mental garden. And I've read it so many times now that I can't forget it. It's always in the forefront of my mind. It's always there when I'm with people, because it's all about how you treat people and everything. And that book really changed my life. It opened up my eyes to how I was reacting, how I was acting towards other people. And I I love it. You know, I can't live without that book in my head now. So I've read so many books, especially that one, and the ones I enjoy the most are really those that change my perspective. They culture me. They give me a new outlook on life. Besides The Power of Positive Thinking, what is another book that you've read that's changed your life, and why?
So one, I want to, because context is very important. Nothing outside of me has ever changed my life.
Right.
Things, books, seminars, they don't get to have that power because I gave everything power over me. And when I did that, I didn't when I gave everything power to change my life, I also ignored the power that already lived inside of me. So what books do for me is remind me of what's already inside. And so, and it's important that I give this context because a lot of times people say, oh, you changed my life. I said, no, I didn't. I showed you a new perspective. You changed your life. You get to keep that power. And so I just wanted to provide that context before I moved forward. So I was having a conversation with somebody, and he's an avid book reader. He reads like 3 books a week, 2 books a week. And I was telling him, you know, how many, he said, how many books do you, you know, how many books have you read in the last year? And I told him, I said I read 5 books. He's like, oh man, you slipping, you slipping. And I said, how many books have you read? And he said, I read like something like 250 books. And I said, now the question you did not ask me is how many times I read those 5 books. Bruce Lee says, fear not the man that practices 1,000 kicks, fear the man that practices 1 kick 1,000 times. Right. He was like, I don't get it. Yeah. I said, well, you know how many times I've read The Power of Positive Thinking? He said, no. I said 498 times between the paperback and audiobook. He said, why? I said, because I'm a different person every time I read the book. So I'm looking at it through a completely different lens, and it keeps producing results. And I said, I don't read the book for memory. I read the book for mastery. And the only way to master something, you get 10,000 hours of something, you'll master whatever it is, whether it's in sales, entrepreneurship, asking someone out on a date. Whenever you get 10,000, and he was like, yo, I never thought about it like that. I was like, look at the little kid. Gets up, falls down 72,000 times, and walking is not even our natural state. Our natural state is fetal position. They've got to adapt into that. So if you want to adapt into a new practice or whatever the philosophy of the book, in order to master it, it's a over and over and over and over and over, bam, then something clicks process. And so I wanted to bring that awareness before I went into another book, because oftentimes people don't talk about that. But there's another book called The Power by Rhonda Byrnes. And listen, that is on Rolodex. It's like I listen when I wake up, when I work out, when I drive. My car is a university on wheels before I go to bed. You know, our subconscious mind it's so funny. It's like the captain and the crew. You listen to a song over and over and over and over and over. You're singing the song, even if you're not trying to memorize it. But if I'm listening to The Power, that's all about generosity and evolving and developing and building other people up and seeing the value in yourself, is a song. Well, then what I'm humming now is the philosophies instead of humming the latest trap song, whatever. My trap song is building people up, adding value, practicing abundance, and all these different things. So that book, The Power by Rhonda Byrnes, it's like my second favorite book that I understand the most about myself when I listen to it and read it.
Right. I really like that you said the 10,000 hours. And I know Caitlin smiled a little bit or smirked a little bit because I actually coached Caitlin and she played college basketball and was one of the top shooters in the country this past year. And that was one of my philosophies. If you wanted to change your shot, you had to practice. And I needed 10,000 reps in the summer. She'll tell you through, if you ever talk to her, she'll tell you, man, coach had me in the gym 6 a.m.s in the summer. I'm supposed to be sleeping. I'm just graduated. I'm a senior. I'm 18. I'm doing this. And he's got me loaded up in the gym, 10,000. But what I really liked about that, and I'm going to shift kind of this, is I just read your book. And the big thing about what you said about, fear the man who masters the same kick 1,000 times. I'm really passionate about reading the same book over again. Energy Bus, like I told you earlier, is one that I read 4 or 5 times a year, every year. And I've been doing it.
I just got that as a gift, by the way, from my old friend of mine.
You'll love it. It's easy read, 190 pages, man. I literally read that book every year, 4 times a year. And I've been doing it since I've known Caitlin. So it's been over 6 years. But I just read your book. And in the chapter, Love, No Matter What, you talked about love as a choice. Here, Area Code 459 podcast, we basically are saying we're trying to spread this culture of love that would breed in self-empowerment to people. After apologizing to your classmate and falling out with your business partner, you apologized to both of them in the book. You said, would you talk to us today about what it looks like to choose to love people?
Well, the thing about it is, I'm all about context, because I can say, oh, just love.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing, and here's the issue. Even with all this madness that's going on in the world, we just got to love each other. Most people don't even know what love is.
Right.
That's why somebody can be in a domestic abuse relationship, and then they keep going back, oh, he loves me, because they associate love with being hit, because they probably saw their mom and dad in domestic. So their domestication of love is actually not the true essence of love, but that's what they view as love. So you say, just love other people, it's associated with pain and fear.
Right.
Wow.
But when you strip it all away, every baby was born into the essence of love.
Right.
Before they learn fear, before they learn pain, before they learn all these different things. So when you forgive, truly, from your heart, the 2 men who murdered my father have every reason in the world to wish death upon them and their kids. And I did that for years. And I say, you know what? Whatever I'm holding is something I'm creating within inside of me. And that's blocking me from giving the best to my family, because everything is energy. And if there's hate inside of you, there's no possible way people are getting the best of you. So by me being able to develop the muscle to free myself of all things that doesn't serve my soul's expansion and peace of mind, when I do that, I get back to the essence of love. Because you can say love, those are words, but love can be wrapped in hate and pain. But I'm talking about the essence of love. When you get to the essence of love, there's a subtleness. There's a tranquility about it. And I teach the stages of love, and I teach people there's no breakthroughs, how to break back into who they really are deep down on the inside. And when they get to that place, you'll live forever. You'll be free. You literally will be free forever when you keep tending the garden. So when I say love, no matter what, that is the key to, one, truly be free. Because physical freedom is not real freedom.
Right.
It's internal freedom.
Right.
That's the way to truly, truly, truly be free in any environment.
Right.
And it's also a way to access your full potential full potential of your God-given talents.
Right.
Because it's not surrounded by anything. You got a pipe, and if it's clogged, there's nothing can come through. But the channel is open and it's flowing when that which does not serve you is not in the way.
Right.
So that's what that whole thing is, and it's taken a lot to develop that and then to sustain it over time. However, when you can get to that space,
right,
you'll truly know what living is like.
Right. And I really liked it. And like I said in the book, you could talk about you talked about how you kept releasing that energy. Like you're like, as long as I was holding on to it, I was holding myself back. But as I was releasing the energy, I started feeling better about myself. And another book that I like to read is the Bible, and Jeremiah 29:11. My sister actually just posted this the other day. Said, man, my brother gave me this as a graduation gift, and it says, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope in the future. How does doing what you love, like releasing that energy and then doing what you love, align with the man that you've become?
Well, one, can you ask that question differently?
Say that one more time.
You said, how does doing what you love align with the man that you've become? Right.
Like you release that energy, right? And then you put the positive energy into, let's just give an example, your nutrition and wellness, right? You put it into something and positively impacting people's lives. You have that passion. How does doing what you love build, align with the man that you have become?
Well, the thing about it is we're already naturally loved.
Right.
So you don't even have to put love in. It's already there. Right. It's removing the other stuff.
Right.
So by me removing the other stuff, just by way of existing, that is like I've become the essence of all the things that has gotten me to this certain point, and I just simply share everything, vulnerably share everything that I've gone through. Right. Because the essence of life is growth. So I'm a human being that's continuously becoming, and you'll never hear me say things like, "Oh, that ain't me." You don't even know who me is when it's like you're constantly evolving. It's like I am energy in motion. So doing what I love, it aligns with who I'm becoming, because who I'm becoming is the essence of love that simply is using any platform that he can to show people how to discover themselves at the core and utilize it, utilize their gifts and talents to produce extraordinary results in their lives. So it's like all of it is part of the same seed.
Right. And I really like how you put that together, because that's what I was looking for. Like, and because in Jeremiah 29:11, he talks about, I already have plans for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you. So basically everybody is holding on to and compiled on that stuff. Right. And then once they release it, they're already just becoming, like you said, in the essence of who they already are. Right. Who they were already supposed to be. Jeremiah 29:11, what God had already planned for you to have on this earth. So I just wanted you to, kind of put it from your perspective.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that.
And I want to add this. So, just for people who just may not be familiar with the Bible, you take a volleyball or a basketball. You play basketball, right?
Yes.
Football, basketball.
A floating device.
Right.
And dunk it underwater.
Right.
What's the ball doing?
Floating back up.
Trying to come back up.
No, but you got your hand on it. You got something pushing it down. What is it doing?
Drowning. It's submerged.
Like literally, the ball goes like this underwater.
Right.
Because it's not supposed to be underwater. What happens when you remove your hand?
Pops up real fast.
Fast. Right. To where it's already supposed to be.
Right.
So when you release resentment, when you release hate, release your goals, release your ideas. We weren't created to be keepers. We were created to be givers. That's why we have holes all over our body. Sweat comes out, urine comes out, number 2 comes out, throw up comes out when there's toxins, tears come out. Like all this stuff comes out. So when you hold on to your resentment, hold on to the opportunity to forgive, hold on to your gifts, hold on to all these different things. Hold your breath for 2 minutes and watch what happens to you.
I'm not going to try. I might turn pro.
But this is what I'm saying.
Right.
Your life will be a manifestation of what you hold on to. So if you hold on to all of that, your life will be a manifestation of death. Why? Because if you held your breath for 5 minutes and you weren't trained, you die. So a lot of people's lives physically look like the cousin of death because the greatness of what they have, they hold on to, not even realizing one of your greatest gifts is letting go of the resentment to create space for your next blessing or for your new level and things like that. That's why they don't put first graders in 5th grade. You've got to evolve into that, but you can't evolve with all this stuff that you're holding on to. Right. You'll weigh yourself down, and the hot air balloon doesn't leave the ground till you release the weight.
Right.
Man, that's so powerful, because when you talk about the manifestation, whatever you manifest in your life is really who you are. I saw that in myself. I went on a mission trip to Ecuador summer before my senior year in high school. And we always make these wrap-up videos to show the congregation and church what we did and what kind of ministry we were doing while we were down there, and kind of some of the fun stuff that we did as well. And I came across the video, and I'm like, dog, I'm out here trying to serve the Lord, and I look like the maddest person ever. Like, that's not a good look. You know, I'm not embodying what the love of Christ is. Like, you can't even see that in me. And then that's when I had to start learning how to release and let go and make amends and stop holding on to the weight and the hurt that other people had caused me, or that I was holding on to, that I had been hurt by. And once I learned how to let that go, once I learned how to like really let the love of God shine through me that was already put inside of me the day that I was born, and when I started doing the things that I love to do and finding who I was, that's when like Caitlin really kind of blossomed and emerged, and my life and my passion and my vision kind of came to me all at one time. And God just said, okay, now you know what you want to do, and here's the path for you. Go follow it. Absolutely. And it was so powerful. Like, it's something that you can't explain. It's something that you can tell people, but when they experience it themselves, like you said, it's a freedom that like you're going to find a whole nother life out there. And you're just like, where in the heck was this? And it's like, I've been missing this whole entire time, holding on to all this pain that nobody else cares about. Like, they've already forgotten about it, and I'm letting it still affect who I am. And so, yeah, like, manifest the positive, manifest the love, manifest those things that are going to make you flower and blossom and really dive into who you are as a person. And like you said, now I have no problem being vulnerable and telling my story and telling all the pain and the hurt that I went through, because like, that's not who I am. I've grown through that. And now it's a place where I can show people that you don't have to live in the past. Whatever you manifest, like you manifest love is gonna pour out of you.
Absolutely. I love the fact that you shared that, especially when vulnerably sharing your testimony. That's what got me literally on this whole journey. I was afraid. I was like, oh, I'm a personal trainer. I was dying, literally dying inside, living inside of my car. I was like, oh, I'm a personal trainer and this and that. I was like, nah, man, things are not okay. And it's okay to say things are not okay. And I need support. And guess what? When I let that out, it's on social media right now. It's only been almost 9 years. And I say, you think you know me? You have no idea. Right now, I'm living in my car, sleeping in an abandoned building. I'm on a bubble wrap. Well, listen, 5 years from now, I'm going to be a multi-millionaire, 6 years from now, I'm going to retire my mom. It's all online. And every single thing that I declared is everything that I've surpassed times 10.
Wow.
Well, that's powerful. And I really, I was taught by, some mentors and coaches of mine to just say yes, and I think that's a really big thing. Just, first start with just the word yes. And then, like we keep saying here, just manifesting it and releasing it and letting it out there, letting that energy flow. I think still you're saying where energy goes, energy flows. And I love
energy
that.
goes where energy flows.
Yeah, energy goes where energy flows. Or energy flows where, man, I messed it up. See, I gotta let the professional do it. But with that being said, man, what would you say to a young kid about the power of reading or even writing? I mean, I know that you just, conquered that feat of writing your book. What do you think about that? Like, what would you tell like a young adult or a young kid trying to, get to be an avid reader or a writer?
You can learn a lot about how not to repeat history if you read history. And then you can also, in the same turn, learn how you would like to show up in the world by modeling success, whether they're alive or dead, especially if they put it in a book, because success leaves clues. And what I would say is, all you got to do is understand what's going on in the world. There's only 2% wealthy in the world, and the rest will die trying to figure it out. But here's what's happening. You can have an Inquirer magazine that's all about gossip, and then you can have a book that says how to become a millionaire and obtain a peaceful mind. The book, the Inquirer, will be stolen, and there will be more people that read the Inquirer gossip than how to actually become somebody different to attract the life that they want. Be the person that takes that percent from 2% wealthy to 3% wealthy because of who you become while reading this book and sharing it with the world. That's what I'm sharing.
Thank you. We really appreciate that, man. I'd hate to cut you short, man, because it's just powerful. You just dropping nuggets. But at the end of our podcast, and we're wrapping up, we like to come to a huddle, and we call it our call to action. Basically, hey, what do we want to tell our listeners from this episode of what they can do? I'm going to allow Caitlin to go first, and then you can go, and then I'll finish up. Go ahead, Caitlin.
One thing I've been talking to one of my friends about is I tell him this a lot: don't discount your value. And so for my listeners and viewers today, I want you guys to not discount your value, but actually add to it. Find one book that you can read that'll add value to you, and then read it every day for the next 365 days and see how you can manifest and grow your garden.
Oh, I love that. And I'm going to stay with the same value alignment. And wherever you go, always ask, how can I leave it better than where I found it? If you go to church, if you go to a room, you go to a friend's house, if you come in contact with somebody, always ask, how can I leave them better than I found them? And if you have your mind attuned to that, then you're leaving all these touch points of value. You'll look up 60 days from now, 90 days from now, and you will have made a massive impact. And when you make that kind of impact, there's no possible way that it can't come back to your life tenfold.
Right. And my call out is real simple, man. We've been blessed today with someone who does not gatekeep information. So my call out to you listeners is go check him out. Go look at www.garrainjones, that's GARRAIN JONES.com. Cop his book, Change Your Mind, Change Your Life, man. He's dropping little nuggets. Like he said, success has little nuggets that is leaving for you. Go get it, man. I'm telling you, this is a awesome get. Go out there, get it. Maybe it could be that book that you want, that Caitlin told you she wants you to read every day just to add value. He adds pictures in there. He adds quotes in there. He adds sayings in there. He drops little nuggets in there that can make your life better. I'm telling you, go cop his book, Change Your Mind, Change Your Life. Thank you, Mr. Garrain Jones. We really appreciate it. Before we get out of here, we definitely like to say our mottos. I'm going to start. My motto is let love be the frequency. Love is energy. So love is the frequency. And Coach B loves you. You can go ahead.
1% better every day.
Right. And we'll let you leave. We'll let you leave it, Mr. Garrain.
Change your mindset, change your life.
Change your mindset, change your life. That's right, man. Thank you so much. Coach B loves you. We out. Peace.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yes, sir.